Oh, it's not a new show, but it's on Prime. It was originally on Sci-Fi Channel. Well, then you can watch it, and you should.
It's like Game of Thrones in space.
What kind of fan am I of The Expanse? The word total comes to mind.
This is too good to be true.
It's just big.
Forget it. Forget it. I'm into this.
It's 200 years in the future.
Earth is home. Mars, they're trying to make themselves, and the belt is like the ugly stepchild.
We must protect ourselves!
Season 1, just holy shit. They're all in this tenuous relationship with each other, ready to go to war at a moment's notice.
Unless this ragtag group of, like, ice haulers figure it out.
God, I hate space.
It just gets crazier and crazier.
It's like the grown-ups are paying attention to this genre again.
It is visually stunning.
The universe is big, and the stories are big, and the ideas are huge.
The characters are not cookie cutter. They're as close to real people as I think you're gonna get.
Ava Sarala is so freaking badass.
I love Amos.
He's the guy that you want to fight, for sure.
Naomi's everything I wanted out of a character.
The science is real, the stories are real. Put the two together, and you're creating a TV show that hasn't necessarily existed before.
It's BSG plus Game of Thrones plus this X Factor that you just have to experience.
I want that second season, and I want it now. I don't want to wait.
I love the show. I want to marry it.
Season 1 is just the tip of the iceberg.
You kind of can't stop watching once you start.
Oh my. I'm excited.
Keep them coming.
Oh boy, everything's great. The whole show's great. Highly recommend.
Guys, we're going to go ahead and start. One of our panelists is missing because he can't feel upstairs, so he'll be coming just a little bit late. So he'll introduce himself. Zero.
In face. No disrespect. We want to show.
Oh, by the way, what I just showed you was, does anybody remember that commercial that Sci-Fi Channel did for The Expanse back in the day, back in 2016? It was right there when the Sci-Fi Channel contacted some of the fans, and they asked us if we would be willing to do that. So we did this commercial. And they filmed it at CEO Comic-Con back in 2016. Just a little bit of bit. So we can interview. My name is Wendell P. I'm the senior writer at Friends of Comic-Con. I visited the Expanse set in Toronto, which was by the lounge on that set is just absolutely amazing. I was at the International Space Development Conference when Jeff Bezos made the announcement that Amazon was going to pick up the Expanse. So, I hang out with Jeff Bezos. He's my buddy. Okay, so, all right.
Hi, I'm Chris Blackwood. I'm a human-centered designer and system engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory here in LA, up in Pasadena. And I am also a huge fan of The Expanse, and I had the great honor of bringing a bunch of the actors and Glendon, who's going to be here, and the special effects supervisor, Walter Rao, to JPL, where they do an amazing panel discussion on the science and engineering of The Expanse, and they got to have a tour and see the original master of Voyager's golden record, which was pretty special. So happy to be here with you guys today.
She forgot to mention the fact that Kara G, who's drummer, Nadine Nicole, who's Peaches, and Fred Johnson, Chad Coleman were on the panel, and
yes.
It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. So,
Glendon Richards is currently invisible, but he's sitting right next to me.
He'll talk later, okay? So, Robert, I actually did you guys have more. I'm sorry, Robert.
You're all kind of confused. Yeah, but I'm Robert. I'm an astronomer. I work at Caltech. I do science communications work. My first real contact with The Expanse was I got to moderate the panel on the science of The Expanse before season 2 dropped. But subsequently, I actually got to work with Kara G and Cass Anvar to make some science shorts called The Habitable Zone. So if you're ever on YouTube and search up The Habitable Zone, you want to see Kara in space, but not talking like a belter. Check it out.
What Robert didn't mention, too, is that you had, I think all the major stars were there, right? And your panel on Caltech, and Noreen Shakar, who's the showrunner of the Expanse.
Right. Noreen was there, and James S.A. Corey were both there.
Yeah, James S.A. Corey is of course Hi Frank and Daniel Abraham, right? The thing that remember about the showrunner, Noreen Shakar is the showrunner, and the showrunner is the person who's in charge of the show, hiring the actors and also assigning the task of the writing. And Noreen actually went to Cornell at 16. He graduated with 2 PhDs, so that's why this show is so awesome. This is the person in charge because come on.
Well, Noreen was the science advisor on early Star Trek Next Generation, and little known fact, I actually interviewed for the science advisor position after he got promoted to story editor. So, yeah, didn't get it, but that's okay.
Now, the reason why we do the panel, I didn't know this before. We've been on 3 panels.
I got to have some surprises once in a while.
I'm a commercial HVAC tech by day, working in convention centers like this. My name is Julius Vladimir Francisco. I used to be the youngest member of Ray Bradbury's group. This year, I think we'll be able to sell like 2 films in AFM in the American film market. I have to give mad kudos to Michael, because without him and like 80 other people throughout the planet, the show wouldn't have been revived. I know he's very humble about that.
No, I can tell you this, okay? I was perfectly involved in keeping the show going, because I was actually you might hear at the first panel that the Expanse did in San Diego. Besides me, you. All right, come on up.
Oh God, no, don't, because he has a gift for you.
I hadn't actually seen the show. We just loved doing the science of the shows. And so we went, and I'm like, oh, that looks like a good show. I should watch that. And now I have.
It's a little something to put by your refrigerator, little ends and stuff like that.
You don't go very much.
Okay. Just subject to, she was actually, that's one of the special panels. It's the panel that was actually moderated by Daniel and Ty. It's the only time that one of 2 times, because Hawk was at your panel too, right? By that speed.
Hawk is one of the writers.
He's one of the creators and
directors.
He did direct.
I know he directed at least one episode.
No, I do believe he did. But does anybody know you different? Okay, all right.
I defer to him.
So Hawk Otsby and Mark Fergus were the ones who made the show for television, okay? Because we know that Daniel and Ty were writers of the books, but Hawk and they're the ones that they did Children of Men, okay? That's what they're famous for. And so that's one of the 2 times that he's ever been on a panel, because Mark will joke out, but Hawk won't do it, okay? So, no, it's quite special. So, all right.
Julius didn't get to finish introducing himself.
You didn't finish?
No, we're good. We're good. I'm the least qualified in this entire bunch.
No, I am. All right. As you can see, our fellow panelists who will eventually be yours, I suspect. But Clinton was a staff writer on The Expanse. Did you guys see the web series, The Expanse One Ship, that was on? I think you could only see it.
It's in the X-ray. If you do the arrow up, you're watching it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and so it's really worth the time, because they've taken a couple of things from the later books into 2. Yeah, okay. And he actually won an award for that. And then he's also the author of a YA novel. Anyone here have kids 2 to 14?
One person. It's a wonderful book.
Glinton's not here. He was going to give this away, but this is a copy of his book, and it's a YA novel, so it's for the kids that age. Okay? Sure. Oh, by the way, he's signed. It's already signed. And then hang around afterwards, and we'll twist his arm, and he'll put a little personal message in there for your child. Okay? All right. Sure. All right. As I said, we're going to have prizes. Okay? So I'm not the only one with prizes. So these guys, at some point in time, will have a prize too to give out. Okay?
We have a whole free Navy here. I love it.
We do, don't we? Yeah. Good crowd. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do. I do what I call housekeeping to make sure everybody's up to speed on everything that's available now. I might miss one thing. I'm trying to keep up because new things keep coming out. But here is the print order and the print order and the reading order of everything. Right. So they have Drive. Oh, by the way, I think the first or second year, one of the swag gifts they gave out at San Diego Comic-Con was a copy of Drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have that.
Yeah, I still have that too. Yeah. Anybody? Did you manage to get a copy of that of Drive? But anyway, if you take a look over here, the publication order and the reading order that you probably should read those in. Okay. We have the 6 seasons. Dragon Tooth. Has everybody know about the graphic novel?
It's
or
a graphic novel.
Graphic novel, Dragon Tooth. So it's
gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really good too. And then the game Telltale series, and then we've got The Expanse One Ship.
This was shorts. You were probably going to do a thing with Glenton right now, weren't you?
Yeah. Well. Oh well.
I've texted him to shame him.
So just check. How many people have watched all The Expanse, all 6 seasons?
There you go.
Wow. But none of you have watched One Ship yet? Okay, so what you got to do, either in the web viewer, like in a web browser, or in the app, like the Amazon Prime app on your device, on your phone, watch each second season or 6th season episode and hit pause, then go into X-ray, and then go digging, and you'll see there's like this little video they hid from you completely, and there's 15 minutes at least of The Expanse you haven't seen because of Glenton's episodes, but you have to go hunting for it. So go look, and that's your homework assignments for like next weekend. Go finish watching The Expanse.
Isn't there one of the episodes of One Ship, I believe, where Bobby and Amos have a good time together? You guys have got to see this.
You know, it's from one of the later novels, right? It's from the 7, 8, 9. I can't remember. I think was it 7? All right. That was it. Did you ask them how many have read all the novels too?
Yeah. Have any of you read the novels? Couple, all the novels or just some?
All the novels and the shorts and the novellas too.
Oh, okay, let's do another one. How many have watched the whole show but not read the last 3 novels?
Oh.
Okay, you got.
We'll try
you
not
got to go
spoil.
finish the story too. It's really good.
All right, we need to be careful.
Yeah, we'll try not to spoil for 7, 8, 9.
If we're going to do spoilers, we'll let you know. Okay. And then here's Osiris Reborn. And here's the last one. Have you guys seen this one, the latest graphic novels, The Expanse, A Little Death? Those are really good. Now, this is something you all have to do. You have to sit down and send a letter to Expanding Universe. That's the new production company started by Naren Shankar, Ty and Daniel, right? Mm-hmm. And Brett Eisner, who's their favorite director. And they've started, to do their new novel. But we got to tell them that we want, not only do we want the last 3 books, but we want all the novellas. And so especially this one, we want this one because Eric is plays such a great part. And then Jacob Mundell is a wonderful human being too. He plays Eric. He's a great person. And his story in this is just awesome. It really is just awesome.
And Wes Chatham, who plays Amos, helped write this.
Yes.
He's one of the authors.
Yeah. Okay, so just real quick, you look at this definition of a villain. I mean, you could see how old-fashioned this is, right? Originally a low-born, base-minded rustic, a man of ignoble ideas and instincts, in later use an unprincipled or depraved scoundrel, a man naturally disposed, a man, by the way, not a woman, a man, naturally disposed to base or criminal actions or deeply involved in the commission of disgraceful crimes. You can tell this is an incredibly old definition, right? And then evil, in a general sense, evil is defined by what is not the opposite of absence of good. It can be extremely broad concept, although in everyday usage is often narrowly used to talk about profound wickedness. Okay, so this is just the kind of framework we're looking at. Obviously, these definitions are very antiquated and just not quite up to snuff, to reality, to the world we live in nowadays. But it's just just something to look at. So now, the villains. And then the question mark, the proto-molecule. Keep that one in mind, okay? So we're going to definitely come back to that at some point.
For those who haven't seen the show, the protomolecule is a pluripotent material. It's a molecule which can consume and change other molecules. It has an artificial intelligence to it, and it is a big danger in the show, but it's also a big benefit.
Think about the three-body problem and the way they took a proton and they unfolded in those dimensions. They had all that stuff in there, and the protomolecule is kind of like that, really, right? Okay, so these are some of the villains we're going to be discussing. They're not all by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, so as you can tell here, we all had our ideas of the villains: our primary villain, and our secondary villain, and our tertiary villain. So now we're going to start with the seasons and go through the villains. All right, so Aaron Wright is, Aaron Wright was the UN person. And he was a bit of a bad person, but it's interesting, he's your typical good villain in the sense that what he thought he was doing was right. Earth comes first. And that was one of the things that Officer Rala had taught him, is that Earth comes first.
But Earth comes first is part of what makes him a villain, right? As far as the Belters are concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he started out bad because there was a moment, if you guys remember, there was a moment when he met up with his son at school, and we saw the human side of him. And he wasn't a curl your mustache villain. He had a purpose there, and he believed that Earth came first to the detriment of everyone else, to Mars and to the belt, And so, who was yours?
So my villain from the first season is Strickland. This is a man who is a brilliant scientist, and he is not using his mighty powers for good. He is experimenting on children. And of course, like every villain, he believes what he's doing is right because, like his employer, he thinks that by experimenting on children with the protomolecule, he's creating a super soldier that's going to save Earth. But the truth is, he is just heartless about what he does to these kids. As he infects a kid with the protomolecule, this is a spoiler for season 1, as he infects the kid with the protomolecule and the kid dies, he's completely emotionless about it. He sees these kids, these human children who are people. They're irreplaceable. They're the most vulnerable of our society. He sees them as merely materials for his science. And so as a villain, I think he's absolutely detestable. And I don't mind what happens to him in season 2.
Season 1 villain for me would be Diogo. He's like the average Belter boy. So my sister and I had a conversation about it. She has a background in computer science and psychology. The vehicle is totalitarianism and annihilation. The oil is outrage, disenfranchisement due to lack of prospects and capability for the betterment of life. The engine are millions or billions of young, frustrated men like Diogo. The one in the driver's seat are men like Winston Duarte. So that kind of it gets repeated throughout human history. And the reason why Diogo is actually not just my season 1 villain, actually my favorite villain in The Expanse is because he's the engine that drives the story. It's millions of disenfranchised people like him. That's what is basically causing the conflict. And he's not the cause. The cause is basically abuse, lack of resources, distribution of resources.
But don't we see Diogo in more? Diogo's in season 1,
episode 2.
But wasn't he more of a victim? I saw him as a victim.
He's a victim.
But he wasn't.
Until they're not.
And so that was.
Until they either become jackbooted thugs or terrorists.
Yeah, I think that's the brilliant part about the show is that we actually see these guys being victimized, and we understand the rationale. We don't agree with the methods, but we definitely understand the rationales.
Yeah.
Oh,
Glenton Richards, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry I'm late. Interesting, having a booth and being on a panel at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot to juggle, isn't it?
It's work. It's a lot of work. Your villains from season 1.
Yeah, Holden, obviously. Right?
No. Go ahead, talk about that though. So
I was just joking, but
Chris, one of our other panelists, always said that Holden was a bit of a villain because if you remember him releasing that information about and saying that
that Mars was responsible for or who was responsible for the destruction of that ship, and he blamed. I think he said Mars was responsible, and Mars wasn't. It was Jules Pierre Mao, and so he started this whole thing in the best of intentions. But is he the worst villain? Because if you think about all this, a lot of this stuff happened, Jules Pierre Mao. But at the same time, if Holden hadn't stuck his nose in there, would it have been as bad? That's my question to you.
That's a great question. I think, in some ways, Holden, he thinks of himself as the hero. But I think, that goes for a lot of people. It's like they can think of themselves as the hero of their own story, but in some ways they might do, something that in other people's eyes might be perceived as kind of villainous. And you can go further into The Expanse and look at, some of the Belters, some of the Martians. They all, in some ways, think that they're the heroes of their own story, but the things that they're doing might be perceived more as more overtly villainous, but in other ways, Holden kind of has something similar, but he's more of in a gray area, especially in season 1. So it's a really interesting paradox.
I just wanted to frame what you said slightly. So you're saying that someone who goes on and takes their voice and uses it to repeat or create an allegation that is not based on a full understanding of all the evidence, but spreads it out so other people then see it and repeat it and spread it around, that constitutes a villain. Do we know anyone like that in our society today?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a great question.
But Robert talked about one of his favorite villains is Mademoiselle Avasarala.
Yeah, I'll jump in. So I was trying to be provocative a bit. We all think of Avasarala as a hero of the show, but honestly, a hero to whom? We come in with that bias, Earth First bias, and this idea of who represents your needs, right? If we view the universe through the eyes of the Belters, Avasarala has been a bitter villain. She has oppressed them. She is the source of all of their woes. And it's very telling in the way that the nuanced storytelling, I think, in the Expanse, is that we see multiple sides of all these characters. And our very first introduction to Avasarala in the TV show is while she's in the process of committing a war crime and torturing a prisoner. And I think that was a very bold choice they made, because right out the bat, they're trying to tell you that everyone's story is complicated, and there are heroes and villains amongst us all. And obviously, I love Avasarala, and the performance is amazing. But you even follow her to the end of her story in the TV show, and even at the very end, she has a chance to make a really good decision about who takes on and carries forward the transport union. Thank you. Yeah. Right? She doesn't make the right call. She needs Holden to make the right choice for her. And so it's interesting. Even to the end, she has a very dark thread that runs through her that kind of compromises her and puts her in a much more interesting gray space between hero and villain, I think.
Well, she was manipulative to the end. She always tended to see a few steps ahead of everybody else, but and Holden actually outsmarted her on that one move, right? Yeah. Because he knew he had to set it up so that if he made a decision, that no one could countermand him, and she thought she had control of him,
But she did always come back to this idea that Earth must come first.
Yes.
And so anything that she did in the service of Earth, regardless of whether it hurt Belters or whether it hurt Martians, was still justified. And so that, in a very real sense, right, if you didn't happen to be from Earth, she was your adversary. She did not care about you in that sense. So I think that's an interesting chink in a otherwise really likable, intelligent character. There can still be things that's kind of compromise maybe some of her moral character.
Making her a complex character, which is what we like about the show, is that these people are not simple people. There's an awful lot going on there, because you could argue that that Naomi is a villain because she kept the proto-molecule sample, and boy, that created havoc too. It's just, we love these people, but boy, they are really quite human and quite flawed. They're just incredible. And also too, let's not forget, I think maybe you were thinking about Anthony Dresden instead of Strickland. I think someone said Strickland, but Anthony Dresden.
Strickland.
Yeah, but Dresden was the one that was in the first season. And he was that scientist that was on, that was that Phoebe and, that they were experimenting with.
Mengele in space.
Yeah. Weren't they experimenting with the protomolecule and stuff like that? And so. Yeah.
Wasn't Dresden on Eros?
Yeah. But, he was on Arrows, and then he's the one that set up that, that radiation and stuff when Holden and
Miller.
Thank you. God. He set that up, and so dosing with radiation killed all those people as part of an experiment. And how many people were on Arrows at the time? 100,000 plus or something of belters, and they just didn't care. I mean, a mass murderer. He was Mengele all over again, right? And you could say it's science fiction. No, it's not. We've seen this story before, where millions of people were killed in the name of science. And did he push the envelope? Yes. Did he care? No. And did he medically have himself changed so that he wouldn't care too?
I don't think Dresden did. That's my later one.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Paolo.
Spoilers.
Paolo. No, but he didn't, did he, in the book? Because we couldn't tell in the TV show.
Yeah.
But Paolo we knew in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No. If you there's a little bit of difference there, but if you've seen all the episodes and then you've read the books too, they had a medical procedure to take them so they wouldn't have a conscience, if you will, right? I mean, just a conscience, right? Mm-hmm. But in my mind, Dresden, I mean, Dresden's just friggin' evil. And Strickland is just friggin' evil. I mean, they're just evil.
It's very interesting as somebody in a STEM field to read a book like The Expanse, to read a series like The Expanse, and see how many scientists, and I happen to know that Daniel and Ty love science, but how many scientists in this series are freaking monsters, right? They're just heartless people who are driving toward a scientific goal at any cost. It's really, I gotta say something to Ty and Daniel at some point about that. Yeah. Where are good hero scientists?
Right, yeah, it's a great question. No, it's funny because it's just like, I think in like the course of history and advancements, there's that quote about how oftentimes humans will push. I'm trying to think of like the way it's phrased, but basically it says that we often advance science without thinking about the cost first. Usually we just do it because we can and not thinking about whether we should or not. And I think oftentimes that's portrayed in our show, where it's just like we have scientists that are so smart that they want to advance this cause. And it's like, sure, like, yeah, some people will probably die from this protomolecule infection or will probably, be killed from, X, Y, and Z, but we are advancing science, and that's, the greater good. And when they're not really thinking about like, okay, you're actually going to kill somebody, which is bad. And so I think a lot of times, yeah, there are certain people that are maybe just in their minds or just in the world, they are very smart, and so they just think that whatever I think of, it's going to be good. The outcome eventually will be good, but I don't have to think about the unintended consequences with these specific people that I'm going to affect or kill. So yeah, it's a really interesting kind of paradox.
What kind of makes the mark of really interesting literature is when a story that's written at one point in time, you can start to map it onto other things that happened since then. And so, in The Expanse, there's this drive of like, if we don't let these people die, we won't ever know what the protomolecule can do. And this is so much more important than the lives of people that we will prioritize pushing that and letting that go. Do you think there's a metaphor that we can pull on the way AI technology has been developed in just over the last few years? This idea, if we do not just dive headlong into it with no oversights, we'll never know where it's going to take us, regardless of the kind of problem it's going to get us into, right? This wasn't on the book this wasn't even on the table when The Expanse was written, but it feels like it's already creating yet another metaphor for us to draw on.
Exactly.
We don't even know if we're creating Hexamon or Berserkers. So,
yeah, no, it's funny. When it comes to AI, it's like oftentimes when you hear like these CEOs talk about advancing AI, it's just like, if we don't do it, China's going to do it. So we have to do it. And oftentimes that convinces politicians in the US to be like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and do this. But oftentimes, China's probably thinking, the same thing, but like if there was just a conversation between, the countries or the involved parties, it's like maybe there could be some guardrails put in, but it's just like, oh, we have to do this first and we have to do it better, so let's go, and we'll think about the consequences later.
It's disheartening because the thing is my background, my main major was business economics, econometrics, but my specialty on that was national equilibria, right? Game theory. And they don't operate by human psychology. They operate by game theory.
Yeah.
And and that's the logic.
Exactly.
In a two-player game, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
So see if you, next time you see your favorite tech CEO, if he's sounding just a little like Dresden when he's talking, maybe? I don't know.
All right, season 2. I don't even remember, because season 2...
I think we had Cortazar in season 2.
Well,
didn't we?
We had the protomolecule in Miller, and they were trying to blow it up. And so that was season 2.
You had us do like primary, secondary, tertiary.
Yeah.
But then he mixed it up.
Oh, okay.
I'm mixing everything up. I know. Excuse me. Okay. All right. No, but in season 2, and who mentioned the protomolecule as theirs?
I did.
Okay, so the protomolecule was big in season 2.
So yeah, the protomolecule I wanted to put on the table just because, when I grew up in school, like they teach you there are only 3 kinds of stories in the world, right? Man versus man versus himself, and man versus man, like that's really where we think of villains, right? That's someone who's working against you. But the third is man versus nature, and that's where the protomolecule comes in, right? It is this thing, it has a kind of AI-ness to it, but it is not a self-aware agent, acting. It's not like a thinking person, right? It is simply a tool, and it has a purpose. And we are absolutely irrelevant to any consideration it has, right? You can't hate it like you might like a horrible leader or who's done, right? It's like the sun. It is just going to do its own thing, and if that destroys you, it just happens to destroy you, and you don't reason with it. And so the protomolecule becomes this kind of background force of nature of it has a very specific agenda. It is going to do it. It will use any biomass that it can get hold of, not really caring whether that biomass had like its own agenda, its own loves and hates and fears. But it's so neutral, because then it's how do you even deal with that as a villain, right? And this is where so much of the moral ambiguity of the story comes from. You have the people who are like, we have to understand as much as we can. There are spin-off technologies. We learn to do things we never knew to do because of it. But on the other hand, where does it take us? It literally ends up taking us into a place that may threaten the very existence of humanity fundamentally if we let it do what it was doing.
Do we need to have thought to have evil? Or to be a villain?
If you really want to go down the path of what is evil.
yeah, but that's really one of the primary questions is is the why, and stuff. So this is the hard part. Why? We have, and I'm skipping around here too, and I admit it, all right, up front, but the why. If we have Philip, what Philip did is absolutely horrible, but from Philip's point of view and from that narrow belter point of view and all the stuff that they've been dealt and just been treated like nonsense, it is not unreasonable. Plus, what is that saying? That 5 people dying is a tragedy, 1 million people dying is a statistic. Yeah. Right. And so 1 billion people dying, it doesn't make a difference to the belters. It really doesn't. It struck them. And the worst part about it is nobody wanted to deal with them or negotiate with them until they did that. Okay? And so this is we see this constantly, and I think that it's called asymmetric warfare, right? And so you don't listen to someone until they smack you around enough so that you have to listen to them.
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I'm not making any value judgment, no value judgment. I'm just saying that this is kind of like the way it is. And, the Belters were kind of ignored before then. Julius, do you agree, or just what do you think? You have a thought on it. I know you have a thought on it. He does.
No, my other villains were very disparate from what you guys are talking about.
I question whether or not you really require intent to be a villain, right? If I am in a jungle and a lion is trying to eat me, to me, the lion is a villain, even though it's not trying to be mean, it's just hungry, right? So I think the protomolecule qualifies without intent. What do you think?
That's a great question, or great thought. I think, a protomolecule, in some ways, it could be seen as, it's a villain. In some ways, it's just doing what it was created to do. And it, sees life and it, absorbs it or takes it. So it's almost like it's in the eye of the beholder, whether you're a villain or whether you're just doing your job kind of thing.
Okay, follow up on that one. The protomolecule is a hero of its own story because it's doing exactly what it was designed to, and it's doing it excellent. So, but then my question to you, Julius, since one of your primaries is the Goths, how does that fit in there then?
I mean, there's always a bigger fish, right? And I guess I have to do a spoiler alert on, but no, because the Goths was featured in the last season when the ship was eaten by the ring gate.
By the way, define the Goths, just in case people don't know.
I would argue they're either a Kardashev level 3 or a Kardashev level 4 civilization that's higher than the ring builders.
Yes.
That took the ring builders out. Took the ring builders out in a sense that, like, they destroyed them system by system. So wherever they were, that basically, if you think of the solar system, they annihilated that, like multiple systems, right? They exist beyond Minkowski space-time, so they're like it seems like they're a multi-dimensional species. And basically, the best analogy that the books came with it is just like, maybe it's just like moths and like, you're like, that's annoying. There's like insects in my backyard.
Well, because what happened is the builders were somehow encroaching on their space and grabbing the energy from their space or something.
For all we know, the builders might just be viruses to them. They're like, oh man, this is a common cold. What the hell? Let me take a pill.
And so they had to
by the way,
pretty much took them
books
out.
7, 8, 9 spoilers now. We've gone full into book 7, 8, 9 in spoiler territory, which is why you should read them.
But no, and so the Goths were really just defending themselves because, and the builders were kind of oblivious. I don't know. The part is we don't know if they were oblivious to what they were doing. That they didn't care until the Goths came in and started smacking them around a lot. Then they kind of paid attention and they tried to get past it, but they couldn't. And by the point that they decided they needed to stop, it was too late, and they couldn't stop the protomolecule because it already spread. And but the Goths took them out.
That we live inside the thing. Like so it's like a super brain.
There's an interesting contrast, I think, between the builders and protomolecule versus the Goths too, because you might argue that the protomolecule is an extension of the intent of the builders, because in their sense that they saw all life as just something to pull in, make use of as a utility, and that was the protomolecule is like their multi-tool.
They're nanotech.
They're nanotech, but it represents their agency of what they're trying to do to pull everything in. Whereas the Goths can argue, and again, this is later material. These are the ones that eat up the ships. You centrumate the ships to the gates. That's what happened. That's where the Goths come in. But you could make the argument that the Goths may literally not even know the slightest thing about us. They may simply be responding to a source of pain and itch, and they're just doing a thing. And I would argue the Goths actually fall outside of our sense of villainy, because they're trying to. You can argue they may simply be trying to stop a pain with literally no concept of what is causing the pain.
And their intelligence is they're way beyond numinous and liminal concepts that we could think of. They're gods, basically.
We're at this very high level. One of the people we forgot, and I just pulled this up for season 3 and 4, is Mr. Jules Pierre Mao.
Well, yeah.
And Dr. Strickland, and then let's not forget Mercury too, okay? And then of course our favorite panelist, Clarissa Mao, Miss Nadine Nicole, who by the way did a panel with us in LA, right?
LA.
Yeah. But I mean, these three guys. I mean, Jules Pierre Mao, he didn't really care about anybody. He was just going to make a buck. The man's already a trillionaire. Okay, I mean, literally, he's a trillionaire in that time frame, and he did. All these people dying and killing his own daughter that I think he truly loved, Julie. Well, I mean, in his own way.
Yeah. I'm not sure he's capable of love.
Yeah.
But it's that same Chinatown syndrome in the movie. What can you do with 20 million that you can't do anymore? The future, Mr. Geddes, the future.
And then Strickland, I mean, the children, the man is experimenting on children. I mean, come on. That's just evil. I mean, he's just evil.
I will say of the two, Strickland or Mao, I actually think Strickland might be more evil because there's a scene in which Mao connects with May and he sees his daughters in her and he spares her. Of course, then he turns around and feeds her right back up to Strickland later when he gets a little success. But for a moment, Mao has just a sliver of decency, which Strickland never shows.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He begged for his life, and he was like a sleazebag. And then, just real quick, we're running close to running out of time.
I would also just throw in Mao. I mean, the great thing about The Expanse is that, like, the amount of time they had to explore all the different kinds of things that make you a villain. Mao is that kind of billionaire entitlement that I have so much power and authority. Anything I want to be is, and anyone else is irrelevant. He's that manifestation of absolute entitlement due to assuming because I am at this level of power over everyone else, no one else matters. I can just make those choices for them. Yeah. And that's what's so ugly about him in that storytelling, right? Even down to, like you say, his own daughter becomes like, she didn't agree with him, and so it doesn't really matter.
She became a bio-level hazard 4 victim.
No.
Because of that.
And of course, we come here to season 5 and 6, and then in books 7, 8, and 9, one of these people here, Winston Duarte, and then Marcos Inaros, and then Philip. Okay, you want to do Duarte? Okay.
Yeah, because I know some of y'all got Philosopher Kings, soft spot. Shout out to our cameraman over there, because Plato's Republic, right? In a sense, the way that the book shoots it is that would be possible if you had hard AGI level powers, you know what I mean? And he had that because he was infected with the proto molecule.
Well, but that's in book 7, 8, and 9. He wasn't infected.
Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. We're sorry, guys, but that's a major spoiler for what happens later on. But Duarte set all this stuff in motion. He knew who he was working with. He totally manipulated Marcos and Aros. I mean, Marco thought he was in charge. Marco wasn't in charge. Duarte was, influencing him. And then Duarte set it up. And so they escaped through the gate, and they set up their own society. And he was the philosopher king.
He was just Chat GPT for the galaxy. Yeah.
And then
I actually was going to say one thing on Mao versus Strickland. I would agree that Strickland is probably the more evil of the two. But that being said, Mao in many ways reminds me of a certain billionaire that is in the world today, which he will remain nameless, but it's one of those people that you've coming up is a very smart person, but as they amass more money and more power, it's almost like, why are you doing this thing that is so obviously, wrong? And why are you backing, say, maybe this candidate when they go against everything that you stand for, other than the fact that you'll probably make a lot more money if this politician is in office. So in some ways, he's evil, but it's kind of a very personal kind of, what they can kind of glean from their decisions, even if it goes against many of the standards and values that they once held. And so it's a really interesting kind of dynamic.
Guys, we're short on time. So I just wanted to there's something, there's a video I always like to run because, with all the stuff we're talking about and everything that's going on, maybe in the world, it's always kind of good to remember this, okay?
You take a hit, just stay calm. They just want the cargo. We'll SOS start negotiations for prisoner release, okay?
I'm just trying to do some good out here.
We have to do good where we can, when we can.
And we have. I have. I think that this is what I've always really wanted to do.
You saved us.
I don't deserve credit for that. I promise. No more secrets. We make it all this way.
I have something I need to say to you.
So far out into the darkness. Why are you so hell-bent home? Because this is my fault. Why couldn't we have brought more light? What were you thinking when Naomi told you what she did?
She's not the person I thought she was.
No one's always right. What happened to my team?
When people don't tell the truth, it always ends badly.
Our family is falling apart. Do
We
you
were
understand
never a
that?
family, Alex.
Face it, this is your home. It's your family. That's your answer? We just let everything go? After everything we've been through, our ship, our home, you want to lose the Rossi?
This is our fight now. We're the only ones who know what's going on down there.
We're the only ones who can fix this.
The only ones with a chance to stop it.
The ship's ready. Are you?
We need to stick together. Do it together.
Amos, suit up. Your luck.
I'm not leaving you two.
Your Paloma armor is in this gift. Get it. And come save our asses. You guys really saved my ass. We're not going anywhere till that thing is dead. Actually, our family needs our help right now. It's his idea. I appreciate you inviting me and your family there, Holden. At least you thought it was work done. Yeah, that worked out.
I don't give a damn about the proto-molecule anymore. It's out there now. So be it. But we promised Prax we'd help him find his daughter.
Don't forget your antibiotics.
I won't.
Truth and justice. You still believe that? After everything you saw? Yeah.
Powering up. Good luck copying me.
You be careful down there, Arthur.
Ja, och så Tom.
Careful up here, Martian. Good job, Marine.
Sent to you, spy.
That video was made by Zurich 23M. Brilliant. He's done another video too about the Expanse. You absolutely must see it. Glendon's here now. So Glendon, I gave one of your books to this person over here. And so could you maybe personalize it a little bit?
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah. Okay. And was there something else? You guys had was somebody else going to give something away too?
Robert's got a plug.
I'm just going to plug tomorrow, if you're around 7 p.m., there's a panel, Cosmic Call Signs, where we're going to be talking about spaceships and how we name them, both real and fictional. Please drop by if you're around.
I had a tactics book, and I forgot to bring it, but I could give it to anyone who could answer this question that will be here tomorrow. I mean, we could go meet, I don't know, the Artist Alley, maybe, just look up my name.
Or meet at his booth. At Glendon's booth. Meet at Glendon's booth.
Yeah, we can meet at Glendon's booth, right? So you can answer. In the show, like, there were tactics that were, obviously they felt more like pirates in the end, but it's because confined spaces. And there's a particular episode where they stole the proto-molecule with the Tachikoma type of droid, like the tank beetle type of droid. Name like a shooting system that was featured in the show.
That's a hard one.
Huh? No. Like a shooting system, like car, like combat isosceles. Never mind.
No.
Yeah, this is too hard a question. Oh, there's somebody who might know.
Go ahead. No. I meant it's okay.
He means like a style.
It's like a way to shoot. So like center axis, real lock. It's okay. It's too hard of a question.
Yeah, that's too hard of a question. Glendon's booth is in between the A14 and A5 pillars in the small press area. You guys should go visit him.
Yeah.
And his book is wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, swing by, and it's a middle grade mystery adventure novel. I will be getting into the sci-fi space soon enough. I don't want to announce anything just yet, but But this first book is a middle grade novel, so I hope you guys enjoy it, and feel free to stop by or buy it for somebody that you think might like it. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
You guys, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, and just one thing too, it doesn't hurt if you kind of like put in your comments. We'd love to see a different panel of this at San Diego Comic-Con. Okay.